Before we go to our first caller of the week, let's talk about our topic of the week. Our topic of the week is 3 crucial questions you should ask before you hire a personal injury or workers' compensation attorney. Number 1, and these aren't necessarily in this order, but in order of priority, I should say. But number 1 question is, are you willing, ready, and able as a lawyer to take my case to trial if we aren't able to get a reasonable settlement amount in the negotiation process for my claim? What typically happens in a personal injury or workers' compensation claim or case is that there will be at some point in the proceedings a settlement negotiation, a demand, an offer exchanged back and forth, and I would say roughly 90% or more of the personal injury claims, and probably 60 to 75% of the work comp claims I'm familiar with, will settle before you have to take the matter to court. However, you need to know whether or not, if you don't get a reasonable settlement offer, and you're one of those cases, one of those 10% if it's a PI case, or one of those 30-40% if you're a work comp claim, is your attorney willing and able to take your case to trial, especially if the settlement offer is not reasonable. There are many lawyers out there that are good, competent lawyers that know how to negotiate claims and know how to try claims. But there are also some lawyers that will only settle claims. They won't take the matter to trial. And so you want to ask that question, because if you get one of those lawyers that by and large doesn't litigate claims, you have to understand that the insurance company knows that as well. They know they have a settlement lawyer handling your claim. And if you have a lawyer that's a settlement lawyer handling your claim, it's more likely than not you are not going to get the full value out of your claim, because the insurance company knows that as well, knows that that attorney is not willing to litigate, and is probably going to offer less money because of that. The second question you should ask is, has your license ever been affected or suspended or in any way affected by the disciplinary administrator? In Kansas, if you have a legal license, you are subject to the controls of or you actually operate your law practice under the controls of the rules and regulations of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has set up a disciplinary administrator who is assigned the task of bringing to the Supreme Court those lawyers whose license should be either suspended, put on probation, their license should be taken from them, and so forth. You want to ask your lawyer, and you could probably do this research on your own before you even get to the lawyer, and you probably should. You want to find out whether or not that license has been affected and what the reason was for that suspension or temporary suspension of the license by the disciplinary administrator's office. And if that has happened, you may or may not want to continue with this particular lawyer, or you may or may not want to hire this particular lawyer and go to the next one on the list. There are many sources out there. I suggest that you start with Googling for the information. You can always go to the disciplinary administrator's website and look up the name of the lawyer to find out what kind of action has been taken against that lawyer. And if it's something that you don't understand, you can always ask questions as to what it was that happened that resulted in some disciplinary conduct being taken against that particular lawyer's license. The third question is, what is your reputation, lawyer, in the community of lawyers, judges, administrative law judges, and so forth? You want to find out if from the other lawyers that practice in the particular area of law that your case involves, you want to find out what that lawyer's reputation is, if at all possible. One way that you can do that is just ask that lawyer, what is your reputation amongst the community? Another way to find out is to ask other lawyers that you're talking with about the particular type of case that you have. As you're interviewing or talking to them, you can say, well, what do you think of this lawyer? And if they're honest with you, and most lawyers will be honest with you, they'll tell you what that particular lawyer's reputation is in the legal community. Those three things, I think, if you go through that checklist, I should say, and do those three things, I think you go a long ways towards making the right choice of an attorney. As I've always said, whenever you try to choose your lawyer, you need to make sure that that lawyer is right for you. It's the lawyer that you can communicate with, a lawyer that you believe will serve your best interest in your particular case. That is the topic of the week.